Hello friends, welcome to Awdhesh Academy. Friends, today we are going to learn about the Right to Information Act. We have heard about it. This is widely publicized. We keep on hearing about the news of RTI activists and how the information which has been brought through RTI has been able to expose corruption and many other irregularities in the government. So today we will learn about RTI Act. So let us first understand what is the need of information, why the information is needed and why this RTI has been brought. What was the provisions earlier? Before RTI was brought, we had an Official Secret Act 1923. This Secret Act was created in the pre-independence period and it has actually prohibited parting of any information from the government setup to any other organization or to the public. So if you are a government officer and you share any information which is available in your record, then it was considered to be a criminal act and you can be punished very severely for that. And therefore what was there in the government file nobody knew except those officers who were dealing with the file. As a result, what happened that you can take any decision and you can be assured that nobody will know why you have taken the decision or even what decision has been taken. So over a period of time what has happened that the government officers become almost like a dictator or almost like a sovereign authority because nobody can question their decision. But we know in a democracy it is the people who are the rulers. It is the people who are the king. It is the people who decides who should act in which way. They elect the representative who become the chief minister, ministers or the prime minister. And it is widely said in a democracy, government of the people, by the people, for the people. And unfortunately, in the earlier regime, that is pre-RTI regime, the public itself did not know what is going on in the government. So this was a very great lacuna in our country and that is the reason that RTI Act was brought. We know that information is power and therefore if you provide the information to the people, it empowers the people and therefore it strengthens the democracy. Let me share you a quote which has been given by the third president of Kosovo when he said, "Democracy must be built through open societies that share information. When there is information, there is enlightenment. When there is debate, there is solution. When there is no sharing of power, no rule of law, no accountability, there is abuse, corruption, subjugation and indignation." And therefore, my friend, it's very important for us to have the information about how the government functions, why certain decisions are taken, and therefore a need of RTI was felt or right to information was felt from quite some time. And let us now trace the journey of the RTI and the evolution of the Right to Information Act. India first enacted its Freedom to Information Act 2002 and that was the first attempt to provide the information to the public. However, this law could not be operationalized because of the infrastructure requirement. Thereafter, in the year 2005, this law was repealed and it was replaced by another law which was called the Right to Information Act, which was passed after Right to Information Bill 2005. And this act has been given an overriding effect on the other acts including the Official Secret Act 1923. That means even if something is prohibited under the Official Secret Act, still the information can be provided if it is permitted under the Right to Information Act. What was the objective of RTI Act? The objective of RTI Act was fourfold. The first was to empower the citizen. As we know, information is power and if the citizens have the information, they will be empowered. The second objective of RTI Act is promote transparency and accountability in the working of the government. When a government officer knows that whatever he writes in the file can be known to the common people, he will definitely be more accountable and he will be more transparent while taking decision. He cannot take arbitrary decision because he knows that this information can be sought by anybody and thereafter his decision can be questioned. It has been able to contain corruption. Earlier, for example, if suppose you give tender to anybody without proper justification, then nobody will know why this tender has been given, why the government has awarded a contract to somebody. But today that is not the case. Any person can get the information and get even the photocopies of the files, and thereafter he knows why particular decision has been taken, and if the decision has not been taken according to the procedures and according to the law, then he can go to the court and get the officer punished for it. So it has been able to contain corruption to a very great extent, and a large number of corruption cases has been brought forth in the public domain thanks to RTI Act. It has also made the Indian democracy work for the people in the real sense, because it is for the first time that the people are feeling empowered over the government officers, because they can get the information and thereafter they can bring that information to the media and the courts, and thereafter they can take action against the government officers. So it has really made the Indian democracy work and more powerful. Now let us understand what is the power of a citizen under the RTI Act. Any citizen of India has been empowered to get the information under the RTI Act. They have been empowered to inspect work, documents, reports held by public authorities, or even information relating to the private authorities under the control of public authorities. They are also entitled to take notes, extracts, certified copies of records and documents, as also obtain information in the form of disk, floppies, or any other electronic mode, or through printouts where such information is stored in a computer or in any other device. So we see that the citizens have full power to get all the information, to inspect these documents and the files and see for themselves why a particular decision has been taken, and then they can take action accordingly if they find anything wrong in that. Now, what is the meaning of information in the RTI Act? The information according to RTI Act means any material in any form which includes records, documents, manuscripts, file or memos, or emails, opinions, advices, press releases, etc. And this also includes the information which is relating to any private body which can be accessed by the public authority under any law for the time being. That means if the public authority before whom you have gone, if they can access some information and they have the access of those information, then you can seek information about that private party also. So can you get all the information under RTI Act? The answer is yes, almost. But there are certain types of information which the RTI Act prohibits or exempt. So those things cannot be obtained, or those agencies cannot be questioned. So first of all, you should know that certain agencies like IB, DRI, NCB, BSF, CRPF, they are excluded from the purview of RTI. That means you cannot go to these agencies and get the information. By law, these agencies, which are basically the intelligence agencies or the paramilitary forces, they have been exempted from the purview of RTI. The second is the information relating to the security, public safety, correspondence with the foreign government, that are also exempted from the purview of RTI Act. Then the third party information, including the commercial confidence, trade secrets, or intellectual property, the disclosure of which would harm the competitive position of the third party, that is also prohibited. Now let us say the government is having an access of some trade secret or some of the formulae which has been submitted by the particular business group for copyright or for a patent, and then if somebody asks for that information, you cannot disclose, because that will obviously hurt the business interest of that party, and therefore such type of information has been excluded from the purview of RTI Act. Then the private information which has no connection with the public interest, that is also exempted. So suppose you are a government officer. Now as a government officer, you have a family, you have brother, sister and all those things, and suppose somebody asks the information about the family members, about the government servants, that can be excluded because that's a private information. In the same way, if you have some information about private people due to inquiry or any other reasons, then we can deny that information because that is of no public interest and such information cannot be provided under the RTI Act. Let us now know the procedure for seeking information under RTI Act. So according to the Act, all the government departments have to appoint public information officers. So each state government department, each central government department, they have to appoint a public information officer. A government department's website should normally publish such information so that everybody knows who is the public information officer. Thereafter, the citizen can seek this information in writing and he has to pay the fee, which is said to be very low, that is only rupees 10, or in some cases it may be more if more documents are required, and then he can apply to that public information officer for the information. Now the public information officer or PIO is required to provide that information within 30 days. If he fails to provide that information within 30 days, then it is deemed that he has denied that information to the person or the citizen. If suppose the public information officer fails to provide the information within 30 days or the information which he provides does not satisfy the citizen, then he can file an appeal within 30 days to the appellate authority. Now the appellate authority must dispose the case within 30 days. And if the applicant is still not satisfied, then he has the right to file a second appeal before the information commissioner within 90 days. There has been severe penalties which has been imposed under the RTI Act against the officer who refuses to provide the information or provide a false information or wrong information. And the most important thing here is that the penalty which is imposed on the officer cannot be paid by the government department. It has to be recovered from the salary of the individual PIO. And therefore, every officer is scared of this RTI Act, because if the information provided is not correct or if he fails to provide the information, then the penalty can be imposed and he has to pay from his salary. So friends, today we have learned about the RTI Act, its provision and how it has benefited the citizens, what are the objectives, what are the procedures of RTI Act, and this RTI Act has been proven to be very useful. Of course, there are negative side of everything, and so there are negative sides of this also. We'll learn that in the next lesson, and please solve those problems which are provided after the end of this particular lesson. Thank you very much for watching the video.